The Texas Workforce Commission is dedicated to growing the supply of childcare so that businesses across the state can remain competitive and workers can pursue and keep stable employment. To support this goal, TWC developed the Child Care Provider Expansion Initiative, which offers funding to childcare businesses that are opening or expanding their business, including those that will partner with employers to offer childcare as an employee benefit. Businesses who seek to offer childcare benefits to their staff can partner with an existing childcare provider in their community to secure childcare for their employees' dependents, helping to retain and attract staff, improve morale, and boost productivity.
The information contained here has been prepared by Civitas Strategies Early Start and is not intended to constitute legal, tax, or financial advice. The Civitas Strategies Early Start team has used reasonable efforts in collecting, preparing, and providing this information, but does not guarantee its accuracy, completeness, adequacy, or currency. The publication and distribution of this information is not intended to create, and receipt does not constitute an attorney-client or any other advisory relationship. Reproduction of this information is expressly prohibited.
As we move through this presentation, we will discuss why providers should consider a formal partnership with employers, how to find an employer to partner with, what the incentives are for employers, how employers can launch a program, and how providers and employers can develop a partnership agreement. A partnership between an employer and a child care provider can take many forms and can be crafted to meet the needs of both the employer's business and employees, as well as the child care business. For instance, if a business provides financial assistance and resources for their employees to find or afford childcare, this arrangement is often called employer-sponsored childcare because the employer is sponsoring care for their employees' children. However, this might not necessarily result in a formal partnership with a local childcare provider. A formal partnership means that the childcare provider is contracted with the employer to serve only children of their employees, or the program is allocating or reserving a certain number of their slots for these employees' children. Employers might be able to work with the childcare provider to be open during the shifts that their employees work, or employers could simply have an agreement with a local provider to refer their employees to that provider if and when they need childcare, which should help boost enrollment at the program. Childcare programs can offer services on or near an employer's campus or off-site at their own facility, depending on the situation. Usually, partnering with a childcare provider that is separate from a business means that the childcare provider would hire and train staff and take care of all aspects of their own business. The Child Care Provider Expansion Initiative presents an opportunity for both childcare businesses and local employers to more easily form employer partnerships and help families in the area benefit from increased access to quality childcare. Childcare businesses have an opportunity to grow or open their business, increase enrollment, and apply for funding through the Child Care Provider Expansion Initiative. Providers can receive funding to help with startup costs associated with preparing to open or grow their business, as well as initial operating funding to help cover costs during the first few months of operations. Employers have an opportunity to improve their employee benefits to attract and retain employees. Some employers may also be eligible for a federal tax credit that helps businesses cover some of the costs of providing childcare to their employees, either on site or through a contract. Through the Employer-Provided Child Care Facilities and Services Credit, employers can receive a valuable tax credit of up to 25% of related expenses, equaling up to $150,000. Here's an example. Megan owns a licensed family childcare business in a small neighborhood. She has been approached by prospective employees of multiple small businesses nearby, stating that they couldn't accept a job offer without childcare in the area, but has had to turn them away as she was at full enrollment. Megan has always wanted to grow her business to help meet the need for care in her area, but she has not wanted to take out a loan to transition to a childcare center. Megan heard about the Child Care Provider Expansion Initiative and approached the nearby small businesses to tell them the story of employees that had to turn down jobs due to the lack of childcare in the area. The small businesses agreed to enter into a partnership with the childcare business to offer priority care slots for their employees. Megan was able to apply for funding through the initiative and grow her business without taking on additional debt. Childcare providers that are operating in a documented partnership with an employer and expanding availability of care in their area may be eligible to receive funding through the Childcare Provider Expansion Initiative. Childcare providers opening or expanding through an employer partnership have until November 30th, 2023 to apply for funding through the initiative. To be considered eligible for Expansion Initiative funding through the Employer Partnership Eligibility category, providers must be engaged in an active agreement with at least one employer that is documented by an agreement signed by all parties. Beyond funding, though, a formal partnership can have many benefits to your childcare business. Your enrollment might become more stable, meaning you could count on more reliable and constant income because a local business is sending their families to you. This could save you time on outreach and marketing. You may become a trusted resource for that business, and word of mouth could lead to additional partnerships in the future. You may be able to match the business hours of operation and possibly even be closed on holidays or during times the families are not at work. Think about the long-term impacts of this partnership and what it could mean for your business in the years to come. While any employer could benefit from their employees having access to the childcare services you offer, there are several examples of business types and sectors that may be especially interested in partnering with a childcare provider, as you can see here. Once you have identified a company in your area that you think might be a good partner, you will want to reach out to them to propose a partnership. Set up a meeting with a decision maker in the company by sending an email or letter introducing your program and the services you offer. If you are a Texas employer interested in offering childcare as a benefit to your employees, you will first want to decide what type of benefit you will offer. For instance, will you offer on-site childcare, or will you contract with a local childcare provider to reserve spaces? How many of your employees need childcare, and how many would use this benefit if you provided it? Is there an existing childcare business nearby you could work with, or do you need to start conducting outreach? Will you be offering financial assistance to help your employees afford childcare or any other benefits? What other decision makers within your company do you need to involve in this process? Getting answers to these questions will be crucial first steps. If you don't know the answer to these questions, you might want to speak with your employees about their needs and what they would want from a childcare benefit. Do they want to continue sending their children to their existing arrangement, or would they appreciate an on-site option at your place of work? How many employees actually need care at the moment? If they were developing the benefit, what would it look like? Surveying your employees anonymously to determine answers to these questions can help you figure out the demand for childcare and preferences of your employees. If you intend to partner with an existing childcare business, either to reserve spaces or to open a new location for your employees, you will want to conduct outreach locally. You may even reach out to your local workforce board office, as they may have a good idea of potential partnerships and providers that are looking to expand. Employers who offer childcare benefits to their employees report increased employee retention and loyalty, improved productivity, and a better workplace environment. All of this leads to reduced expenses and employee absences and turnover, and higher profits due to increased productivity. Further, you may be eligible to receive a tax break if you invest in care for your employees. The employer-provided childcare facilities and services credit offers a refund of up to 25% of your childcare expenses at tax season, plus 10% of research and referral expenses, with a maximum annual credit of $150,000. You may be eligible to claim this credit for your expenses that your company incurs to provide childcare services to your employees, either on-site or in contract with a local childcare facility, as well as for the expenses you incur to help them find childcare. For instance, if your business is interested in partnering with a childcare business to open a childcare program on your campus, then you could recoup up to 25% of the costs related to constructing, expanding, or rehabilitating your business property to accommodate childcare services. Keep in mind that the credit is capped at $150,000 annually. You also can claim the operating expenses of this facility, including training employees and scholarship programs for tuition. Alternatively, if you would like to enter a contract with a childcare provider to offer childcare services to your employees off-site, then you may claim 25% of business expenses, again with a limit of $150,000 annually, for facility maintenance, childcare providers' wages and trainings, and children's tuition. One additional way to receive funding through the tax credit is to provide resource and referral services to your employees. If you offer resource and referral services to help your employees find and access childcare, you may claim 10% of these expenses as part of your tax credit. This 10% is in addition to the 25% of direct service expenses you can claim, but it is included in the $150,000 credit limit. When entering an employer-child care partnership, employers and child care businesses must discuss and agree upon which entity will take on which responsibilities and what the expectations are for both parties. For the purposes of the Child Care Provider Expansion Initiative, these decisions must be recorded in a service agreement. To be considered eligible for funding through the Child Care Provider Expansion Initiative, here are the key pieces of information that a valid agreement must include: the names of the employer or employers, the details of the child care business providing services, including hours, ages served, and other details of the program, the location, including relation to employer's location, such as on-site, near-site, or in the community, the projected number of families and/or children the employer has identified who are in need of childcare, if the employer will financially support the partnership. You will be eligible even if there is no direct financial support, and the start and end date of the agreement. Employers may decide that they want to pay a portion of their staff's child care costs directly to the child care provider. If that is the case, that will need to be explained in the agreement. Alternatively, employers may opt to promote the child care business to employees without financially supporting the cost of the services. There are many other questions and considerations that should be discussed and mutually agreed upon by all involved parties. Once these decisions have been made, you can add lists of responsibilities within the service agreement template. Thank you for joining me for this discussion about employer-child care business partnerships. If you are interested in helpful resources, information, and guides for your child care business, visit childcare.texas.gov to find information on various topics in both English and Spanish.